So we're going to do something that we've done in the past, and a lot of people have asked if we were going to do it, and I guess we are, because here it is. And one of the things that I think it's pretty clear to me anyway, just what I see, or maybe it's just how I see the world, is that we have much more in common than we do. We have more commonalities than differences. And just like the world is actually really pretty safe, it's very safe actually, we also have a lot of commonalities. And what happens is we talk about differences because that's just what we do. And in a class like this on race and cultural relations is really in some ways designed just in our consciousness and our way of thinking to focus on differences. But the truth is, we could spend the entire semester focusing on commonalities, and we would never fall short of things to discuss. So one of the things that I like to do is just see where the commonalities are in the room. And so what I want to do is read some things off, and I want you to stand up if they apply to you. And then we'll look around the room and see who's who and who's standing. And so, stream team, just know that on a few of these, you got to be on the back camera because we're not going to want to see who's standing up, okay? Is that cool, stream team? So make sure you're on red for some of these. Okay, are we ready? So, first one, stand up if you have an adopted family member, including yourself, in your family. Whoa. Yeah, that's a lot of people. Look around, man. That is so many people. Okay, very cool. Sit down. Please sit. Thanks. Okay, stand up if you, and you can define this any way you want, but stand up if you have had your heart broken. All right. Whoa, oh my God. All right. Cool, sit. Next time, listen, man. Now I'll invert that. So next time I'll make it stand up if you've not had your heart broken. Stand up if you've never been to a Penn State football game. Well, hang on. I just want to point, stay standing. Everyone stay standing. What I want to point out is that it's really a disproportionate number of black and brown people who are standing. And I presume probably a lot of international students too. So, okay. Thanks. And Simon. But we assume that. Stand up. Here's a really interesting one. Stand up if you don't drink. I also want to point out a disproportionate number of black and brown people. So, okay. Thanks. Have a seat. Stand up if you're not directly involved in thon. Yeah. So, so look, this a lot of you are standing. And when I hear people talk about how thon is the Penn State thing and everything, it's all about Penn State and thon this and equating as if they're one and the same. Look around the room and see how many people aren't standing. And presumably every one of you is involved in something. And something that's doing good things in the world. You're just not involved in thon. So Okay, cool. Thanks. So stand up if 9/11 directly impacted your family. Yeah. It's a lot of people. Still, wow. Okay, thanks. Okay, here's one. So some of these are going to be a little more personal, and on the more personal ones, we're going to keep it on the back camera, so we're not really seeing who's standing. But stand up if you were bullied at some point in your childhood. Damn, dog, seriously. Whoa. Okay. All right, have a seat. Wow, that's a lot of people now. All right, let me ask, given how many people stood up, stand up if you bullied somebody, if you have bullied somebody. Seriously? All right, have a seat. Hey, listen. So there are a couple things going on here, right? One is that I think when I was in college, if I was in a room this large and we would have asked that question, not nearly that many people would have stood up. And I think in part because the way we defined and did not define bullying, it wasn't part of the common conversation. Nonetheless, let me say the following. That's really a rather unnervingly large number of people who stood up for both things, having been bullied and having bullied others. Can I just put this out in the room that those of you who go on to have children, can you change that? So if I'm still teaching in 30 years, like it's not, if I ask that question, not that many people stand, right? Can we go there? Like, come on. Stand up if you've had a parent die during your lifetime. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a lot of people. Thanks. Stand if you have a parent or a sibling who is dying right now, who has a terminal illness of some sort and is dying right now, in the process of dying. So, just one person. Bro, we're sending it to you. Got it. Stand up if you have at least one parent who is LGBT. Two? Just two people. Okay. Stand up if you have a parent that you think is LGBT. No, hang on. No, hang on. I'm not joking. This is actually serious. Stand up if you have a parent who you think is LGBT, but they've yet really come out. Just two people? Three. All right. Kristen, wow. Okay. How about stand if you have a brother or a sister who is lesbian, gay, bisexual, or trans? Cool. Wait, remain standing if that brother or sister has basically been excommunicated from the family because your family doesn't accept at all. One person? Yo, positive energy to your sibling. Cool. Okay, here's an interesting one. Stand if you are open to having a same-sex experience, but you're not likely to go looking for it. But if it came to you, you'd be like, all right, that's cool, I'll give it a shot. By the way, I'm standing on this one, all right? Not while I'm married, but, you know, whatever. I'm good, dude, I got you, though. All right. Cool, thanks. Yo, hang on, stay standing. Yo, it's interesting that almost no men are standing at all? Simon. That's it? Yo, seriously, no men in here are willing, because some of you are quite open. No men are willing? All right. Okay, cool. All right, man. Besides Simon. All right, dude. You're on. Stand if you have turned away from the religion of your family. Whoa. Yo, that's a lot of people. Whoa. Okay. Cool. All right, here's one. Here we go. Thanks. Stand if you currently have 2 or more jobs or work full-time during the semester. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Thanks, yo. Thanks. Hey, thanks for the applause, too. That's cool. I appreciate it. Stand if you feel like you don't really belong at Penn State. Hey, also just if you look around, you'll notice also the disproportionate number of black and brown students who are standing. And I think that's testimony to the work that we're doing and continue to need to do. All right, thanks. And the work we haven't done. Stand if you have one parent who is currently unemployed and looking for work. Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot. Thanks. Stand if at some point in your Penn State career, you've actually walked through one of the doors at Old Main. Yeah. All right. Cool. You know, it seems like such... You know, and you can look around if you're down in the front. It seems like such an easy thing to do, but a lot of people don't do it. Okay, cool. Thanks. Here's one. Stand if you have personally spoken with Gary, the Willard preacher, and had a normal conversation just talking about life. Yeah. Cool. All right. Yo, hang on. Can I just say, not enough of you are standing. Gary's a really cool guy. So, okay, have a seat. Hang on, let me just say something on this. You know, Gary has this thing that he does in between classes where it's sort of like the shock thing, right? Because he wants to get you to stop and engage, so that's what he does. Gary's a really interesting person and a smart person and a really nice guy. In spite of, you might say like, oh, but he says all these horrible things. Well, so does So do a lot of people. So does Donald Trump, and people still like him. So
I would really recommend, if you're walking by Willard and there's no one else out there, go and talk to him. That would be your shot, because you won't debate him. You'll just talk
he's
to him.
really awesome. He's a cool guy. He and I have done a lot of debates as to raise money for Haiti and Brazil. So
which were less debates and more of Gary saying something and Sam saying, "Yeah, that's a good point."
Yeah, it wasn't really a debate. It was just me agreeing. And the only reason I really did it is because I want people to hear. And by the way, this is for Christians. If those of you who think that I bash Christians, I don't know if you think that anymore, but I don't think I do. Do I? But I really was doing it just so people could hear Gary actually have a normal conversation. Talk to him about his drug use when he was in college, by the way. That's really interesting. All right, ready? Okay, stand if you have hooked up with someone of a different ancestry or race. Damn. All right. Yo, look around. That's a lot of people. Okay, well, keep that going, because that's how we're going to bring peace to the world. All right, thanks. Wow, that's a lot of people, y'all, right? Okay, ready? Stand if you are estranged, or you no longer speak with or communicate with at least one of your parents. Yeah, that's a lot of people. Well, okay, thanks. Stand if you've ever been in handcuffs. Not because you were hooking up, right? Yeah. Okay, hang on. So I can't, maybe a disproportionate number of black and brown people, relatively speaking, but okay, hang on. And then remain standing if you've seen the inside of a jail cell. Yeah. Okay, hang on. And remain standing if you absolutely deserved to see the inside of that jail cell. Dude, 1, 2, 3. Wait, the 3 white guy. 4. Oh, and a brown guy. All right. Hang on, bro. Hang on. I just got to get one quick story. All right. What'd you do?
So I was in Worcester, Massachusetts at the time, and needless to say, I was a bit inebriated. And my friends and I had planned to go to a Louis the Child concert, but my friend actually was the one who they said was too intoxicated to enter the concert. So apparently that was reason enough to not let any of us in the concert, which I didn't take too kindly. But you know what? They were being very nice, and they said, go ahead, take a stroll around the block, go get some pizza and some water, and if you come back in 30 minutes, we'll let you in when you sobered up. So we said, that's actually pretty reasonable. So that's exactly what we didn't do. And I guess we thought that 2 minutes around the block was enough, and we came back, and they still didn't let us in. And I still didn't take very kindly to that. And they said, you know what, if you don't leave, we're going to arrest you. And I tried to call their bluff, but apparently they weren't lying.
They were serious. That's how they are up in Massachusetts, man. They're serious up there. All right, listen. Stand. Okay, here we go. You ready? Stand if you're a hugger. I mean, you just hug, man. Yeah? Thanks. Seriously? All right. Dudes, so look around. That's who you got to reach out to. These are the huggers. All right, man. Dude, give me a hug real fast. All right. All right. All right. Next one. Okay, so here you go. You ready? Stand if you really, just for whatever reason, you don't really like to be touched and you don't like to be hugged and you don't want to hug. Yeah? All right. Yo, huggers, look around, my friends. All right, sounds good. Thank you. Okay, go up to, make sure you're on red right now, team. Stand if you have a parent or a grandparent who is physically abusive. And so remain standing. And the rest of you stand up if you have a parent or a grandparent who is psychologically abusive. Hey, let me just say something really fast to you all, right? You can sit down, but I want to say something. So, one of the things that we learn in the field of sociology is the ways in which things travel down in families, and travel down in lots of ways. And in spite of our best efforts to be different from what we've seen around us, too often human beings and our ways of being human beings, because it's just built into the DNA of life itself, it would seem, we end up reproducing some of the stuff in our lives, the good and the bad. And one of the things that we do see, these very strong, we see correlations between people who have lived in abuse and then people who at some level end up reproducing that abuse in their own life, even when they don't have to. It's not inevitable, but y'all who stood up for one or the other, don't kid yourselves about the amount of work it might take for you to break free of that. So I just want to say that as a public service announcement. Stand if you have a chronic health condition. Wow. That's a lot of people. Yeah. Cool. Okay, thank you. Stand if you are close to someone who's had an abortion. Also. All right, thanks. Yeah. And stand if you've touched a dead human body that was not embalmed. That was not embalmed. A body, as you touched the body of someone who had died, but not embalmed. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Thanks. We kind of said this, but I want to. Well, we didn't really. So stand if you would like to, divorce or break free of one or more of your parents, if you could do so and never see them again. Just break free and be done. It's all women who are standing. Wow. Okay, thanks. That's big. Thank you. Stand if you have never smoked marijuana. Damn. All right, hang on. Okay, and remain standing if you want to try. All right, Simon, looking around. See who you got? Simon's house, Thursday night. Taco night. We'll be there. All right. You get the munchies, you eat about 30 or 40 tacos, you're good to go. Stand if you have, by the way, that's a lot of people who stood, by the way, who've never smoked, so good for you. Stand if you consider yourself an addict. Can we be on red, by the way? Stand if you consider yourself an addict. Anything. Alcohol, marijuana, prescription drugs. Yeah, that's okay. Thanks. It's a lot of people. Thanks, y'all. Hey, by the way, can I say something? Another PSA really fast. For those of you who just stood, and those of you who didn't stand because you're still in denial about whether you are or are not an addict, let me just make the following statement. When you get to my age, and you haven't dealt with addictions, and you haven't dealt with certain things that really you're dealing with now at the age most of you are in this room, but when you get to my age and you haven't dealt with those things, it gets really hard, and your life gets really immensely difficult. And so if you think it's difficult now, give yourself 30 or 40 years. And I just want to say that. It's actually not as difficult. If you understood what it would be like in 30 or 40 years, you would see how easy it would be right now to address your addictions. Stand if you have spent more than 2 consecutive weeks in the hospital. Not when you were born. Not if you were born preemie, but something else. More than 2 consecutive weeks in the hospital. Wow. Okay. Thanks. Yeah. Stand if you have a multiracial nuclear family. Yeah. Oh, it's cool. It's a lot of people. This number is really growing. Cool, thanks. Stand if you have a health condition that in all likelihood is going to result in your premature death. Anybody? 1 person? 2? 3? 4? Okay, sending energy to the 4 of you. Thanks for standing. How about if you have a health condition that will result in your premature death, if you very likely have one, but you really don't want to find out? So like something in your family that you could find out and you just really don't want to know if you have that genetic possibility. Yeah. Whoa. Okay. Thanks. Yeah, it's a lot of... Okay, here we go. Probably almost all the straight men will stand for this one, but don't feel like you need to, right? Dude, you're going to stand on this one. Look at you. You'll stand on this one. You ready? Stand if you virtually never give a serious thought to what you look like. Dude, see? Wait, hang on. Any women standing? Wow. All right. Thanks, man. Dude, yeah, look at you, man. You get you. Okay. Stand if you are. I don't think I ask this. I often do when last week, I'm surprised we didn't do this, but stand if you are in the military or have been in the military. Or are going in the military. I know we have a couple people. Yeah. Yeah. Good. All right, dude. So you were in the military?
I mean, everyone in Mexico that's 18 has to enroll in the military. So.
Yeah. Okay. Stand if you have a close relative, meaning your parent or your brother or your sister, or really close relative, who's in the military, or a really close friend who's like a brother or a sister to you. Yeah, it's a lot of people. Yeah. Okay, thanks. Are you ready? This might take a second to think about. This is the last one. Stand if there's a common stereotype of your racial or religious or cultural group that you totally fulfill. Oh my God. Really? Wait, hang on. Okay, hang on. Wait, what is it for you?
I'm a stock trading Jew.
What is
I'm
that?
like a big stock trader. I'm a Jew.
Oh, really? A stock trader? Oh my God. And you?
I eat watermelon.
You eat watermelon? Yeah. Oh my God. No, hang on. That's not the question. The question is, do you really like watermelon?
Yes.
I know. All right. Thanks.
How many white guys can't dance?
Yeah. Dude, yeah, that would be me. Thanks, man. Dude, what stereotype do you fulfill, by the way? All of them? A lot. By the way, I have a buddy of mine who also loves watermelon, and when he's around he's black, and when he's around he just won't even touch it if there are people around. He's like, nah, man, I'm not going to fulfill that stereotype. Yeah. Okay, so here, I want to do I just want to kind of keep this going in a little bit, but in a slightly different direction. And what I need are you don't have to come down at once, but I need someone. What we're going to do is I want to bring a representative down from each of these two groups that are in conflict in some way, and we're going to really fast, quickly say. Each person's going to say what they think is the key or the primary fault line or what the divide is in their personal perspective. So the divide between people in the queer community and either Christians or Muslims. Like, what is that fundamental divide? What is the thing? And then we're just going to run down the list. So then I would need someone who's Pakistani and someone who's Indian. And we're going to go fast. So because, we want to get through, we don't have a lot of time. So who wants to represent the LGBT community on this one really fast? And we need someone who's really, who can represent Muslims, who is Muslim and maybe you yourself don't have to believe that being LGBT is a sin or something, and who would be Christian? Who wants to take, dude, are you volunteer? Who wants to take the LGBT one? Really fast. Somebody. Bro. And who wants to do the Christian or Muslim one? We need a Christian or Muslim representative. Dude, the Christian one? All right, Mom. All right, bro. So here's the question. Wait, what's your name again?
Scott.
Scott?
Matt.
Scott, meet Matt. Matt, meet Scott.
Nice to meet you.
All right, man.
Breaking
What's the
barriers.
primary fault line, my friend?
I think that it comes from I don't know if it's not it's kind of a false narrative. It depends on which religion, but I think it's the idea that you're not necessarily welcomed because it's not the typical love. You always hear Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve kind of mentality. I don't know if anyone's ever heard that, but that's kind of I don't know, a gay narrative that isn't always true, and it also depends on which kind of facet of religion we're talking about, but that's what I would say most of the conflict comes from.
All right, bro, what's up with Christians on this, man?
Well, I represent the Catholic Church, and I come from...
Oh, dude, Yeah, you guys are against homosexuality, or you support it? I forget which one it is.
Well, for me, I come from central Pennsylvania, and that place is completely full of racism and hatred towards people who don't go against their standards. For me personally, like the LGBT community, I don't have a problem with it. People.
But what's the divide, though? What is
The
it the
divide
Christians
line is-
say?
The divine line is this: the Catholic community, the Christian community, I guess they really look at the Bible as male, female, people getting married, dating together. They really look at the norm in all things. They don't really view gay couples, lesbian couples together. The divide line is basically male and female has to be together, all stuff like that.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I was just going to say, to piggyback off that, I think it's also like another thing that like gays have issues with, or at least like I did growing up in like a Catholic home. I mean, my parents were really liberal, but it was always like I went to like a whole bunch of like Catholic school, like Catholic high school proms and stuff, and it was always like they were really big traditionalists, like the Bible, like tradition, like Catholic tradition, all that kind of stuff. But I was new, and like I was like a new area to them, so it was always like, oh, no, you're so cool, like you're like my one gay friend, that's fine. But like I would always hear all the time, like, you know, it was basically kind of like to come for like the liberal narrative a little bit. It was always like, it's okay that you're gay as long as my son or daughter isn't, kind of thing. Which that was something that it like sometimes fed from religion, but always didn't come from there. It came from different areas, but that was one of the feeders. I feel like.
All right. Cool, man. And Jesus, does anyone ever talk about the fact that Jesus had 12 male friends that he hung out with?
The 12 disciples.
Yeah.
Really, in church, we look at them as the saints that that followed him.
Right. Okay, I got you. All right. I'm just, I don't know, whatever. I got to ask. All right, bro. Thanks, man. All right, cool. Thanks, man. So that's it. Dude, well, wait, are you still Catholic, bro? You're not? You can be, you know, it's fine. No, the Pope said that it's cool, like, it's all good. Yeah, all right, I got you. Now, the Pope also was into science, too, so got it. Yeah, it's all good. Okay, so I need someone who can represent Pakistan and who can represent India. Tell us what this is, man. Who's got it? Who's going to do Pakistan? Wait, is there anybody from Pakistan in here? Can tell us what the issue is in Pakistan? Seriously? There's nobody from Pakistan? Okay, we can't do this. Do any Indian want to? Okay, hang on. We don't have Pakistan. Okay, we're going to pass it by. All right, whatever. All right, man. African Americans and Africans. It's conflict. I need somebody of African ancestry. Dude, and I need African American. Who wants to take the African American side? We got. You gonna take it?
I want to.
Oh yeah. Oh man. All right. Oh.
Are you taking it?
No, he's taking African.
Cool.
All right, bro. What is it? What's the beef that Africans have with African Americans?
I wouldn't call it a beef, but it's a political, social, social, and cultural differences that exist between our communities, and how our environment has been shaped for the last, since the beginning. So that's the line where I draw the differences, like political, social, and cultural differences between us.
So do people like in your community talk crap about African Americans? Do they have certain stereotype views about them or discriminatory views or prejudice?
I believe so. Yeah. I've heard it before. So.
Yeah, all right. In other words, yes.
Yes,
all right, bro. Yeah. Yes, Joy. As an African American, what's the divide? What's the core issue in the divide between Black Americans and Africans?
I think I agree with what he said. It is just cultural. There's our different history. The environments are different. Our influences, our home values are different. I believe, depending on the environment, urban settings, suburban settings, whether you live in a religious household, because everything is so, there's community, but it's real individual, or at least for me and my experience, I'm from Philly. So you have blacks who are Christian, you have black people who are Muslim, so then you have your home values that are different as it do in the general sense of Africans versus African Americans.
So,
facing the
so what
odds.
do African Americans, though, black Americans, right? What do they say about Africans? About like Jonathan here. What do they say? Like, what's some of the stuff?
In my experience, most things are negative, or at least growing up in
Negative.
primary school. Yeah, it's kind of like
Like what?
I don't want to say look down. I'd say look down. Probably look down.
So
Just
black
based off of
Americans
our
look down
own-
on Africans?
Yeah, pretty much just based on what we see, what everyone in America sees. If we see any type of advertisement on Africa, it's
I
poverty.
got you. Okay. But you all look down on African Americans.
Oh, yeah.
Well, go ahead.
If you want to put it
Probably
that
for
way.
ignorance.
So wait, so you're looking down on them, they're looking down on you. And
Yeah, because
white
it's
people
material.
rise up to the top. It's great
Yeah.
being white. All right. No, seriously, that's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
All right, okay, cool. Thanks, man. Thanks, dog. All right, man. Anybody, dude, Mexicans. What I need is a nativist American, meaning someone who's sort of like, yeah, the United States for the United States. Like, we need to cut back on immigration. We need to who can take that position? And then we need someone to take the Mexican position. Bro, we'll take our Mexican soldier here. And I need someone to take the other nativist position. What's the divide? The build a wall, kind of whatever it is. I don't know. Who wants to take that? Who wants to take that? Who's going to go? Dude. You win, dude. All right, you ready? You're on, bro.
All right.
I'm going to take it. Go ahead. What's the problem from the Mexican perspective with this this conflict between Americans who want to build a wall and you all, right?
Okay.
Where do you start?
I mean, I feel like part of the problem comes from Mexico, as Mexicans, how they see the United States, and then also how the United States see Mexico. So in Mexico, we have this kind of term called malinchista, which means that people from Mexico that like the U.S. better or think they're better than Mexico. And it's badly portrayed. And then
Malinchista?
Malinchista. Yeah.
What's it mean?
When the Spanish people conquered
Yeah.
the Mexicans, the Malinche kind of translated from the Spanish people and the Mexicans, and she kind of went with the Spanish people, so
Yep.
she was like a traitor.
Yep.
So that's basically how people see people that leave Mexico to come to the U.S. So portrayed badly. And then in the U.S., I mean, I've been here for almost 8 years, and I don't know. A lot of people just look at Mexicans like they're lower people.
Yeah.
Like they're not smart or they're not developed. I don't know. And
No, here, I'll take that one. So the issue is that, we are a country that's developed. You are a country full of corruption and poverty, and we've done what we need to do to develop our country. No thanks to any of you, because, whatever, we don't look at any of your labor or anything like that. That's irrelevant. But, we now have done what we need to do. You all want to come over here and take what we have, and you want to take the jobs that we have naturally that belong to our people on this side of the border, and that should be ours, and that rightfully are ours, because we're nativist Americans. We're born here, and we're part of this, and you all are coming over here for something. And you're not doing it legally too often and all of that kind of stuff. So this is a problem.
Yeah, no, definitely I have felt sometimes Mexicans in the U.S. are seen like parasites.
Yeah.
They're trying to infest the body, which, I don't know, it doesn't seem too real for me.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, it's in my head, anyone who's trying to get a better life should be allowed to.
Yeah, well, no, and so the nativist American position is, but all of us are trying to improve our lives, because all of us want more. We always want something more. And so no matter what, we could always improve. We could always have more. We could get better. We could have a bigger house. We could have a better job. We could have something, right? So that position on that side of this divide still takes something away from people on this side of the divide.
You know, we used to have a joke, which I don't try to sound mean, but like, we used to say that if a person who doesn't even speak the language or doesn't even know what to do can come here and get the job that you are trying to get, maybe the problem is not the person, but it's you.
Yeah.
Because if someone like that can be like better for a job, then maybe you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, exactly, dude. But, dude, do you get that? If an undocumented Mexican takes your job, maybe it's about you. It's not about the undocumented Mexican.
Sam, can I respond to that as the other side? It's not necessarily the fact that it would be I'm the problem. Let's say, we're competing for the same job and they hire you and then not me. Somebody on the other side might think, well, it's because they're able to pay Mexicans less because they don't have to pay taxes as much and things like that. So I'm just curious of what your thought would be for that.
Yeah, I was saying it was a joke. Like, I'm not saying that's exactly what it is.
No, but what would you say to
what
that?
you're saying, it makes sense, and I understand it's not fair for the Americans when that happens.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really have an answer for that, because
Yeah.
if we all had an answer, then we wouldn't have the issue.
So one of the classes that I do, and I didn't do it this semester, is taking the two sides of the immigration debate and really just taking several different issues and really breaking them down, looking at it is. And you really get to the middle, and it's hard. All right, thanks, bro. All right, Mom. All right, you ready? Is there a Sunni and a Shia here? Are you Sunni or Shia? Sunni? Is there somebody who's Shia here? Who's Shia? Wait, is Murtada here? Dude, you're Shia, right? You're Sunni? All right, here, come down. Murtada, is there anybody else who's Shia here besides Murtada? All right, bro, you're on, man.
I know.
All right. What's that? All right, so listen, first off, you have to explain. What's your name?
Sarah.
What is it?
Sarah.
Sarah.
Yeah.
Sada? Or
Yeah.
you say Sada?
Yeah.
Murtada? Hey, can you first explain what they mean?
So basically, they're just two branches of Islam. Like, they're two different groups in one religion. So just talk about the divide. It's just like a divide in history. Two groups believe different things. So basically, after the death of the Prophet Muhammad, one group believed that his best friend Abu Bakr should be his successor, and the other group believed his son-in-law Ali should be his successor. And there was like a lot of disagreement over that. And so the group that believed that Abu Bakr should follow became the Sunnis, and the other group became the Shias. And then there was a battle in Iraq, and the Sunnis killed the grandson. Yeah, and so like that's why like the Shias, I don't know. You can explain it better probably.
So
I don't know the Shias' point of view, but I just know like the Sunnis.
You just know that the Shias are wrong.
No.
No, I'm just kidding. All right, go ahead. What's
It's
your
just
take?
two different opinions.
No, I know. I got you. What?
It's basically what she said about what happened after Prophet Muhammad died. We believe that the Prophet Muhammad's cousin is the rightful successor to Prophet Muhammad, and we also believe that the descendants of Prophet Muhammad, there are 12 of them. The first one is his cousin, or Prophet Muhammad's cousin, and the rest of them are like this.
So what's the essential difference between the two of you?
Honestly, there's nothing.
Well,
Like,
isn't
if
like
you're
the way
Muslim,
you
you're
pray or
Muslim.
something? You either do this or you do this.
Sunnis pray like this, Shias pray like this.
Yeah.
And if you're Shia, you can have a tattoo, and if you're Sunni, you're not allowed to have a tattoo.
Yeah.
It's like the smallest differences, but like at the end of the day, like if you're a Muslim,
Can you drink if you're one or the other? Or like
No, you can't
have
drink either way.
Premarital sex or
No.
nothing?
No, we both can't eat pork.
Have brownies or anything? Nothing? Oh, what's the point then? So you either stand like this or you stand like this when you pray, and that's like, all right.
It's like if someone gets in a fight and I stand with this guy and the other guy stands with that guy.
Yeah, I got it. Well, it's sort of like, for Christians, it's very similar to Catholicism and Protestantism, right? I mean, that's the closest thing that we can get to. And in a way, it kind of makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of the battles, when you hear the battles over Sunni and Shia Islam, it really is about who is the successor of the Prophet Muhammad.
In the history, but now they are just used for politics.
All right, now it's just make stuff up.
Now it's like countries, like Iran is like predominantly Shia and Saudi Arabia is predominantly Sunni.
Yeah.
So like, that's how they go. That's how they fight.
All right, thanks, man.
Cool.
Thanks. Okay. All right, man. Jews and Palestinians. We need someone who's... Wait, we have one person who's Palestinian. You could come down. But is there anyone else who's Palestinian? And we need someone who's Jewish. Can tell us what this conflict is about. Who's Jewish? Who wants to take it? You want to take it? Oh, yeah, the stock trading Jew. All right. Got it. Do you make money trading stocks? You do? Seriously? Oh, my God.
You should all invest in mutual funds and open up a Roth IRA while you still can.
Well, hang on, though. But yours? Do you, like, have your...
Yeah.
Wait, hang on. Can you...
Invest early, invest often, please. I'm begging
This is from a... How old are you?
22.
22-year-old Jewish stock trader right
Roth
here.
IRA,
That's your
mutual
advice.
funds. Keep it balanced, keep it diversified.
How much money have you made in the stock market?
I'm not going to disclose. I'm looking to get into options trading, though.
Okay. All right. So hang on. So what's your name again?
Lois.
Lois?
Mala.
Mada. Say hello.
Hi. Nice to meet you. No,
Okay.
not really.
Okay. What's the conflict? What's the conflict? Because Israel, you know, the whole thing, like what's going on?
So it's just a whole big mess, right?
You can explain it if you want.
Go first.
I'm curious to...
No, you go first.
Yeah, I'm curious.
You have red hair. You go first.
Oh, the ginger goes first. So it's just a whole big mess because we both feel like we're entitled to the same land for different reasons. I mean, your families have been there for centuries and have built their homes, and I mean, we've kind of like displaced you and put you into unideal situations, and it's honestly awful. But at the same time, like, Israel was given to us as kind of reparations for the Holocaust, and, you know, at the same time in America, we are also living on stolen land as well, and we do the same things, like the same terrible things, but I still believe that America has a right to exist, and I still believe that Israel has a right to exist.
Okay. All right,
so
go ahead.
I have to disagree with you in the sense of...
Which one, though? The first part, she killed it, actually.
So, yeah, I think what you said, it was very well spoken. And I think that the Jewish religion, they believe that they have a right to be in Jerusalem and what is now known as Israel, just as much as the Palestinians believe religiously that we believe that we belong there, and that we have holy sites there, and we have been there for so many centuries. But I have to disagree with you in the sense of Jews go through similarly what Jews in America go through, that Palestinians go through in Israel, because it's an oppression.
No, it's what Native Americans go through here.
Native Americans go through.
Not
Okay,
Jews.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
Yeah.
So you're saying that...
So no, go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
I'm saying that we both live on stolen land. Like, the Jews live on stolen land in Israel, but Americans live on stolen land in America.
So, like, you have these... So you have essentially... in some ways, refugee communities for Native Americans. We call them reservations.
Yeah.
And then you have refugee communities for Palestinians, and we call them whatever we call them.
Yeah, I agree with what you said then. I'm sorry I misunderstood you, but I think that, it's 2019, and Palestinians are still being killed by Israelis.
And
It's
I think that's terrible.
2019.
Disproportionately.
Disproportionately.
Because some Israelis are being killed by Palestinians. It's
I agree.
just a disproportion.
And that stems from being so oppressed, and at some point you have to say, when can I defend? How should I defend myself?
Yeah.
Should I try to fight back? Because I'm from Palestine, and there have been times where Israeli soldiers walk through a village and they've killed innocent people. For an Israeli soldier to walk through a village, this man is dressed for war, and he walks through a village, kidnaps a young boy, 14 years old, burns him alive, Do you think like that's not
Yeah.
okay?
Okay.
And at some point they have to say like, you know what? Let's take a step back. This is not right because we're all humans and we shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
Like, yes, we disagree about what people in terms of religion or politics belong to that land, but there's more than enough room for Palestinians, Jews, Muslims, Christians. Before 1954, that's the case. That was the case. There were Jews, there were Christians, and there were Muslims. Yes, it was predominantly Muslim, but they were all living in the same land.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you want to have a response to that?
And I don't mean that aggressively to you at all.
I
Because
believe
I'm going to
that
respond to it, by the way.
I definitely believe that changes need to be made to the government of Israel, and I think that Netanyahu needs to go. I think that's
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, hang on though. Don't you?
But
you
at the same
yeah,
time-
I'm just imagining all the emails and the hate mail I'm going to get. So just be careful. All right.
But at the okay,
It's fine.
Netanyahu, I'm not beheading him. Or I'm not like trying to take him out myself. But I'm just saying that I think that definitely things need to change with the government, and things need to change with how this situation is dealt with. But at the same time, I do believe that the state of Israel needs to exist and is a great ally for the United States. I believe that the technological advances that come out of Israel are amazing, incredible, and unparalleled. But at the same time, that should not come at the cost of human life, and that should not come at the cost of peace. And so while I do believe that the state of Israel has a need to exist, I do not, and there needs to be a state for the Jewish people. What?
No, it's great.
Yeah.
The two of you
at
are
the same time, I
killing it.
believe that we need peace.
Okay. All right. This is good. I have a. Thanks.
Thank you.
You actually are very much on I mean, as
No, I
close
think
as you're
we're
going to be
on
on
the same page. And I think there's a lot of Jewish people that, because I agree with what you're saying, I don't think that the Jewish people as a whole, they deserve a place to call home.
Yeah.
But I don't see why we can't both call it home.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Dude, that's what I say.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey. But she is, though. All right. Hey, thanks for that. That was really nice, actually. I think that if you, by the way, no, that was actually really very thoughtful. And we just let simple ideas get in the way, like the idea that we can have space for everybody. Okay, final one. The conflict between China and Taiwan. Does anyone want to take that? Who's Taiwanese here? Wait, aren't you Taiwanese? Wait, no, but we don't want to go with you. You were up here before. Who's Taiwanese? Who can take the Taiwanese side? Who can explain what it is? Can you do it? Can you do it? You can do it. Do you know what the conflict is? You don't even know? Oh my God. Wait, you're Taiwanese and you don't even know? Do you want me to have to tell you? You don't follow it? Oh, I love that. Oh my God. I love that. Okay, that's beautiful. Anybody can take the Taiwanese side? Can explain it? Okay. Oh, we're not going to do it. If you can't do it, we won't do it. All right. Okay, cool. All right, man, let's do this. Give me a question related to something in class that we didn't cover that you just want to ask. Not a personal thing, just an academic thing. Yes, ma'am.
What's the Chinese and Taiwanese conflict?
What's that? Oh. All right, well, listen, you ready? So Taiwan was not called Taiwan. It was of course, we can start with the British. When during the imperialist years, it became the island of Formosa, and the island of Formosa then was taken over by the colonists. And then in the Chinese Revolution, with Mao Zedong. There was the general who was supported by the West, Chiang Kai-shek, was pushed out by the Maoists and pushed into the southeast and down, ultimately had to escape over into Taiwan, and then took over Taiwan, and then Taiwan became like this new country called, it wasn't Taiwan, but it became Taiwan, and the Chinese government is always saying, listen, Chiang Kai-shek is our enemy. And so, therefore, he colonized this island, and that actually is our island. So Taiwan is actually the property, according to the Chinese, of China. Which is why you will never see like the Chinese flag and the Taiwanese flag together, or like when the Chinese government envoys come to the United States, you have to take down the Taiwanese flags and so on and so forth because, to appease them. Taiwan doesn't really care.
Yeah, Sam, I have a question that was asked a lot at the beginning of class.
Yep.
It's about Sri Lanka.
Yep.
And the persecution of Christians over there during the Easter holiday.
So, just so if you followed the news at all, you followed a really horrific Easter Day massacres, bombings in Sri Lanka. And Sri Lanka actually has a pretty small Christian population and actually a very small Muslim population, but a fringe group of Muslims apparently, although what I'm getting on this is a little bit contradictory, but bomb Christian churches, largely what they're saying, although I don't know how true this is, in retaliation of the killing of Muslims in New Zealand. And the problem is we live in this global world right now. So it's like this is Israel and Palestine, right? So usually if you hear that some Palestinian killed some Jewish settler or some Jewish soldier, it's almost always a retaliation for something that the Jewish settlers or soldiers did. And when they do something, it's a result of what the Palestinians did. And then it just goes on and on and on. And so we're living in this global system where people from all over the world are watching people of their group be victimized, and then they're responding as a result of the victimization. And so that appears to be what happened. And on that, by the way, let me remind you that last week we talked to Bassem and we talked to Bill, both of whom talked about Islam and both of whom discussed briefly radical Islam and how the extremists who are resorting to violence are a small portion of the population. And while it's hard to really understand that or see that, it's much easier to assume that everybody is like that. And so it's like those of you who are in a fraternity or a sorority and people make generalizable statements about fraternities and about sororities. And you're looking around and saying, look, that's true for a small number of people, but it's not true for the vast majority of it. Well, you can hold that line pretty tightly because you can see the evidence all around you. Well, that's what Muslims are saying at the same time. So, look, I live among Muslims. I don't see any violence at all. So you have a few violent people, a small percentage of violent people. That's not everybody. Well, you have a small percentage of people in sororities and fraternities who do really rather reprehensible things, but that's not everybody in the sorority or fraternity system. So you have to take these things and apply them to your own life, always. When the tendency is going to be to generalize to those people out there. And remember that maybe you just don't know those people out there because you don't live among them. Does that make sense? It's actually the most sane thing I've said all semester, by the way. Somebody else who has a question? Who's got a question? Bro.
My question is, what's up with the beads? Like, you always walk
These
around
beads?
class and you never say anything about the beads.
I never say anything about the beads. Well, no one's ever asked me. So,
What's up with the beads?
the beads. These actually were given to me by Bassam. These are Egyptian prayer beads. And when I was in Iraq, he gave me these. It's actually silver. It's actual real silver there. Right? And I just use them because it just keeps me balanced and it just keeps me focused on death, to be honest with you. Just like to keep that everything is temporal and everything will go away. And it's not easy to teach this class because it's just hard. It's really difficult, right? Like I can stumble. I'm trying to say things that are interesting, keep you all awake. It's not easy. So this keeps me focused. Like in the end, I feel my beads and I realize, you know what? You're going to die, so don't worry about it. And so I just stay right there. Yeah. I did convert to Islam a few years ago, but it was an accident, so I don't know. Story. I was in Turkey, and I wanted to meet some dervishes. And if you know anything about dervishes, the Sufis. So in Sufism is just this it's the like beautiful spiritual sort of like arm of Islam. And it's just like, it's just really beautiful, right? So the whirling dervishes are they learn to spin. And dude, pull up a photo of whirling dervishes. So they learn to spin. So this is their meditation. Lots of people meditate in different ways. Christians meditate in their ways. Buddhists meditate in other ways. And the dervishes, what they do is they spin. And as they spin quickly, and they wear these outfits, so it just becomes a really beautiful thing. And one hand is up toward God, and the other hand is down toward the earth. And they wear these hats, and the hat, it looks like a tombstone, and it's representative of a tombstone because the goal of a dervish is to kill your ego, which is the goal of all religions, is to kill one's ego. Because that's what it is. The more you kill yourself, the sense of self is the separation of yourself and God. And so the more you can destroy that, the more connected you can be to God. And so these dervishes, they spin really fast like this. And the faster they can spin, the more they go into this meditative trance state. So I was in Turkey, and I wanted to meet some dervishes, and I met this guy on the street, and I told him, hey, I want to meet some dervishes. And he said, listen, I'll take you to somebody's house, and who does a sema. The sema is the program or the ritual, and I'll take you to his house and you can meet him. So I went to this guy's house in the middle of Istanbul, and I went up these stairs and stairs, and I got to the top. I walked in the door. I sat down in front of this man, and I completely locked eyes, and I immediately just kind of started to almost tear up. We were just connected. He couldn't speak English. I couldn't speak Arabic or Turkish. So we couldn't talk to each other, but we just sat there for about 2 hours. And eventually he said, repeat after me. And I didn't know what he was saying, but I knew what he wanted me to do. So he said a bunch of words, and I repeated them after him. And then he did it again, and I repeated after him. He said, okay, now you are Muslim. And he named me Suleiman. And basically I did what you have to do. There is no God but Allah. And you say a few things. It's like Christians, right? I believe Jesus is my personal savior and that sort of thing. Well, in Islam you can do a similar thing. So then I became a Muslim, and he gave me a name, Suleiman. And I came back the next night, and he gave me a prayer rug and a Quran and like all sorts of stuff. So I'm like, cool. So I texted my wife. I'm like, hey, I just converted to Islam, like killing it. But I mean, I'm a heathen. But then he told me, look, in order to be a Muslim, you have to disavow evolution. And I was like, nah, I don't think I can do that. So, but I'm still a Muslim. Whatever. I'll be a Muslim,
Yo, Sam, I have another question from the stream.
Yeah. We got 2 minutes. Go ahead, man. Sam's opinion on mass incarceration and the idea of new Jim Crow laws. Oh, my God. That question, we live in a world, the mass incarceration that we're seeing, and I think I talked about this a little bit, is really the new Jim Crow and in many ways the new slavery. Absolutely, not a question, no.
And I have one more, if you will. I'm not sure how you'll take this, but we'll try.
Nah, I can't.
I don't even think you even said anything like that.
Yeah, it would take me forever. Why he's supposed to be president? Yeah, I don't think I didn't say that. Oh my God, please.